Hello, friends. This is Michelle Hirschman. I'm the owner of Hirschman Clinical Services, and I'm very excited to have the opportunity to interview Tammy Barton today, shaman healer. And before we introduce her, just want to let you guys know that Hirschman Clinical Services is a hub of coaches. We help folks with mental health, addictions, and eating disorders. We're mobile, go into the community and help folks in their transition out of treatment with creative solutions and helping them reintegrate. Darcy is one of my coaches and is also director of outreach for Hirschman Clinical, and she is going to introduce Tammy. Go for it,
Hi,
Darcy.
thanks, Michelle. Hi, all. I'm so happy you're here. I'm happy to be here, and it's an honor to introduce Tammy before this conversation, which I'm sure will bring a lot more really inspiring information to the surface. Tammy Barton is a licensed massage therapist and inspirational artist. Tammy believes in approaching body work from a holistic viewpoint and is very well versed in many bodywork modalities, different types of massage, craniosacral therapy, as well as some things I'd never heard of, including intuitive bodywork, aura and chakra balancing. Want to hear more about that? And shamanic journeying, as well as soul retrieval. She
Mhm.
believes in working with the body, mind, and spirit as a collective whole through various bodywork and intuitive modalities. And when appropriate, Tammy uses crystals, sound healing, and essential oils in her practice to enhance the healing process. Tammy graduated from the Massage Therapy Training Institute in Kansas City, Missouri, and has been a massage therapy instructor as well. So, really spreading this awareness of this to people in so many different directions, not only through serving, but also through teaching.
Mhm.
Tammy also develops curriculum and teaches life-inspiring workshops and classes to inspire and empower your body, mind, and spirit. We're going to be hearing more today from Tammy about Illuminating the Soul, which is a holistic healing center in Liberty, Missouri, where a lot of this can be experienced. And want to thank you so much, Tammy, for showing up the way you are, and look forward to hearing more in this conversation.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Michelle and Darcy. It's just great to be here. Yeah.
Yay. Well, I wanted to start with saying that I love the fact that you could do work locally here in Missouri, but you also are able to do work virtually.
Absolutely.
You
Yeah,
want to speak to that a little bit, how that works?
absolutely. It really started taking off when COVID hit and I couldn't meet with people one-on-one. But I've been practicing long distance healing for quite some time. I'm a Reiki master, and so been able to integrate that into my practice fairly easily. But it really took off when COVID
Mhm.
took place. And essentially, what I have my client do is we schedule a regular session, no differently if you would be coming into my Liberty office and location, and where you essentially carve out time. We do like an intake, and I kind of tap into where you are in this just very moment and meet you right there and kind of learn about a little bit more about what's been going on with you and what your goals for the session will be. And then I just have you put on some nice music. We pause the video and allow you to kind of have that hour or hour and a half long just rest and repair time. And then I treat you no differently than you would be in my actual healing office. And so I have a massage table. So if I'm led to use the drum or rattle or crystals, essential oils, or even pull oracle cards or do like the chakra balancing, aura cleansing, purification, craniosacral therapy work, I pull from the different tools that I have in my toolbox to be able to integrate that into the session as if you were actually laying on my massage table. So hands will be like over your head as if you were laying on the massage table, or holding your feet as if I'm actually holding your feet. And energetically, I wholeheartedly believe that I am. And I think that's where a lot of the magic happens, is that energy is energy. And it's no differently than if you're there in physical form or in spirit energetic form. And I've been witness to many healings taking place that have really firmed of my belief system of offering the long distance healing sessions, and have seen amazing things happen for sure. So, yeah.
Love it. I love that you could do that from any state or country.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Are you comfortable sharing a little bit about how you got into this work? I'm going to kind of rewind and
Sure.
start there.
Yeah. Well, this is my 20th year of offering holistic healing, if you can believe that. It feels like the time has flown by. But I started with massage therapy, quite honestly, and I have always known that I could find the right, like, knot or discomfort part in the neck, shoulders, and everybody would affirm that as well. It's like, you should be doing this. And so I decided to go into massage therapy school at the Massage Therapy Training Institute, and that was back in 2002, and did a 2 year intensive program and became nationally certified. And during that time period, I specifically took a class with craniosacral therapy, and that works directly with the central nervous system. And that's working with the body in a very gentle way, very non invasive way. And it opened up like all these other facetal ways of being able to work with the body, mind, and spirit that wasn't necessarily on the physical level with massage, but tapping into the inner physician, the inner knowing of the client that I was working with. And it blew like my mind. Like it was just fascinating how the body would respond to a light touch. And that opened up as far as working with the chakras. I've always been drawn and interested into like the Native American spirituality and ways of working with the soul and the spirit. And so I just continued down that path, knowing that I had a great foundation with massage and learning the organs, the systems, and being able to build on top of that with the energetic realm of, like I said, craniosacral therapy, the chakras, the auras, and then especially the shamanic piece of working with the soul. So, and 20 years later, here I am offering it full time. I've been full time for 14 years now, and so couldn't be more grateful for and blessed where I am. So, yeah,
Yeah. Out of all them, I mean, you utilize a lot of different modalities.
do.
Out of all the modalities, which one do you tend to use more of? Or is that a different
Um,
question?
I would say as of late, craniosacral therapy, just because that and with a blend of shamanism, like soul retrieval and shamanic healing. I would
Mhm.
say a bridge between those two because we're all going through different levels of stress and self-care and ways to be able to integrate that in. And it's a beautiful blend between the two.
Can
So,
you define for folks out there what soul retrieval means a little bit?
absolutely. In many shamanic and like indigenous Native American cultures, they believe that there's really uh, no illness, so to speak, or diagnosis. It's an illness of the soul, where
Mhm.
something somewhere traumatic happened along the way, whether that's physical, like a car accident or slip, trip, fall, um, emotional, that could be trauma. Uh,
Mhm.
it could be a conversation that went south and the way it impacted your body, mind, and spirits. It could be spiritual. And so when I do an intake with a client, I really listen in to what they're sharing and saying as a part of when things started shifting for them, or they felt like something's missing, or they can't quite find their path, or, um, you know, they can kind of track it back, or we track it back together to where something significant took place and there was potential soul loss. And soul loss can happen over your lifetime with many number of events and can be a cumulative effect, or it can just be happening in one situation where something's missing. And how I describe soul loss is kind of the analogy I use of a soul piece or a part that was trying to protect you. That when the significant shift or trauma took place, it was just too intense for the body, mind, and spirit. So it shifted. It kind of wasn't wanting to essentially go through the trauma, but keep that highest source and sense of yourself intact. and kind of, if you can imagine a balloon string, okay, with that piece of your soul kind of disconnecting in a way that it's still attached, but holding your highest essence. But now it's kind of hanging out here rather rather than the full embodiment of all of you being home with you. And that's where people will begin saying something feels off, or I don't feel myself. And so when I hear kind of those particular words, I'm like, something has shifted for the client somewhere along the way. And that's where it kind of, I pull that particular tool out of my toolbox with the shamanic healing and the soul retrieval to be able to bring and create a safe space for
Mhm.
the client's body, mind, and spirit. And we do that together. It's not just me doing the work, but we do it together and working intuitively as well to be able to bring those soul parts and pieces back home to where they're going to want to stay. And that is so empowering to be able to witness and then be able to kind of define ways that once the session is ended, for the client to be able to continue that healing journey to where those pieces and parts are going to want to stay with them and they're always going to feel like they're home. So,
I love that. There's like, I get this, I love the visual you just showed me too, because there's such a groundedness, that you're working towards to help folks. And in the work that Darcy and I do, we're always, from a coaching standpoint, we're always like trying to help people like not fly away.
yeah,
You got to keep your kind of feet on the ground and stomp it out. And there is that essence of groundedness emotionally and physically and spiritually
yeah.
and all these different levels of support. And can you define shamanic healing and like what differentiates that from other types of healers? Because that's not a word I hear a lot. Like not everyone walks around like, I'm a shaman.
Yeah.
uh, what kind of defines that for you?
Yeah. Well, I've studied Peruvian, Polynesian, and Mayan shamanism. And cross-culturally, there'll be a lot of similarities, but yet differences. But all my teachers essentially have said the same thing to where in doing shamanic healing, I'm not working alone. It's not just me and the client. Uh, it's an integration of working with your spirit helpers and your angels and your spirit guides and power animals and ancestors. You think about ancestral lineages of trauma, abuse, or neglect. It's calling on those ancestors who are also willing to want to come forward and help heal. And so I work in tandem with my spiritual team that I have created over time and learning that they also bring their healing modalities to the table. And so a lot of intuition will come into play as well. And what's fascinating is that when I do shamanic healing with clients, a lot of times they'll say, their eyes will be closed and they'll open their eyes to like to figure out where I am, like around the massage table, because they feel like there's more than just my set of hands that are gently placed on them. They'll feel another essence or a presence. And that to me is just the beauty of being able to work in tandem and harmony with my spiritual team. And also I call forth the client's spiritual, guides and power animals. Sometimes it stretches clients a little bit, but when I try to educate them in a way that it's like, we always have spirit helpers. And I kind of give people the example, like if you've lost your keys and you're trying to hurry up and get out the door and you can't find them, 5 minutes goes by and you're all of a sudden they were right there all along, right? So you grab your keys, you get in your car and you go. And the next thing you know, had you left 5 minutes earlier, you could have potentially been in a really bad car accident. And so I kind of give that analogy as far as that it's your spirit team, your spiritual helpers helping you avoid different situations that could be traumatizing or not so good. So keep you out of harm's way. So they're definitely very valuable in bringing them in for healing.
So in your experiences, since you've been doing this for so long, is
Mhm.
there ever anybody that doesn't have a spiritual team?
Not to my, not by what I've witnessed and been a part of.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So you
Yeah.
did, so your journey is kind of interesting because you started with massage and then it led you to do all these other studies. Is that what I understand?
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, so if someone was looking for a shaman,
Hmm.
say they wanted someone in person in their home state and it wasn't Missouri or Kansas, um, what should they like, is there certain questions they should ask? Because I mean, I think that's something that I think people get scared of, like, well, who's safe, who's not?
Yes,
Very
it's
much like
very,
really in any industry, like even with therapists, I'm always educating people on questions to ask of like, what would be a good therapist?
yes,
Mhm.
very valid question. What I would recommend is inviting them to ask how long they've been practicing,
Mhm.
uh, who's been their teachers, what's been the ways that they have learned, and and allowing them to be transparent and sharing their story, in what ways that they work with shamanic medicine and different healing techniques, such as like the soul retrieval, um, and just to gain a better understanding and foundation of just it's not a fly by the seat of the pants kind of shaman in relation to someone who's very integrated and works with it essentially every day, if not every other day. So it's a huge part of their life and practice, and they're also practicing it within themselves. Yeah,
Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah.
This level. Um, who do you think this kind of work is good for?
Oh my goodness. Everybody. Everybody. Um, so many people feel like they're alone in their life or struggle with soulful connections. And that's one of the things that I found that in opening up the world of working with your spiritual community, with spirit guides and power animals, it is a depth of understanding that you are not alone and that you can have one foot in this earthly realm and then another foot in the spiritual realm. And it's very unique journey and connection with knowing that there's a higher power to be that is on your side, has your back, and doing everything that they can to empower your life and so that you can live wholeheartedly.
Is there anybody you think it wouldn't be good for?
Um, if one of the things that I would say I've found is that if someone is pretty stuck in their logical reasoning brain, it's a little bit more of a challenge for them to kind of get in that creative imagination side so that they kind of let loose a little bit. Um, and I would say that's been the only, I wouldn't say challenge, but awareness that's kind of come to my mind and experience and working with a diverse group of clients that it's taken a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if there anybody that's willing to come in to see you,
Yeah.
like their partner or spouse, like force them in.
Yes, I've had that happen
That
too.
yeah, that might be the biggest challenge. It allows for the ability to be open for the work.
Yeah, I've worked with children and kids that like in their dream time or they see spirits or energies around them and mom and dad don't necessarily or grandma and grandpa, their caretaker doesn't necessarily know what to do with that and so they try to, stifle it down when quite honestly um for the any age group, but a child in particular that's struggling, teenager, adult, of what is that or what isn't it? Just to be able to have a greater understanding, one within themselves, what's happening and taking place, but to befriend what's there and that it's here to help you for sure. So, um, yeah, it's I don't know. I've just seen some pretty amazing things happen with healing, especially within the shamanic healing and soul retrieval.
Um, so is that part of your work too? Is are you able to kind of hear, see the spirits of the folks that are entering your space?
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm pretty full sensory with that because I can hear, see, sometimes smell, or just have a knowing. Sometimes I'll feel the sensation within my own body and know, and I'll ask, is this mine or is it somebody else's? Is it my client's? Um, and then to be able to create a conversation or relationship with the helping spirits and ways that, reasons why they're there, and then be able to share that. And a lot of times my clients can pick up and feel sense like they can see it or feel it within themselves and
Mhm.
know that the energy has shifted. And
Hmm.
so that's where we work together and I engage them as a much a part of the healing process as possible.
So do you also do mediumship then?
I do.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
another tool in your toolbox.
Yeah, and a lot of times that just organically pops in. I could be working with a client just specifically with massage or craniosacral and something just drops in and I ask, intuitively, should I be sharing this information? Would it be helpful in the healing that's happening now? And it's been very profound when those pop-ins happen, and I've just really learned to trust uh, when that takes place, and knowing that it's here for their healing as well.
So your massage is a pretty eclectic one then. It's pretty rare that you're just doing touch and there's no talking or saying anything.
I tell people when they come in, because when you come into my office, I mean, it's not just a typical massage therapy office. You're going to see, sage, you're going to see crystals and stones and essential oils and drums and rattles. And so some people will come in and they're going to go, I'm just here for a massage, you know. But I tell people, and I have learned when I first started out, I was very like by the book, so many strokes on the right arm and so many on the left. And what I've learned in listening into my client's body, mind and spirit, is that sometimes they need a gentler touch on the right and a little bit, deeper on the left. Or so I listen with my hands, I listen into with my intuition and my heart. And so, you're not just getting massage when you come in. It's kind of pulling from all the tools that I have in my toolbox, and I guess I feel like that's with any modality that I offer. I mean, yes, I can stay just in massage, but a lot of times, their body, mind, spirit, their inner physicians going, "Hey, I know you have cranio in your bag of tricks back here, or Reiki. Is there a way that we can integrate that because it's working with the energy or the trauma a little bit differently?" And it's just a beautiful, multifaceted approach.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Does anybody ever leave your office or space, excuse me, like
Mhm.
feeling worse than they did when they came in? Like, does your work kind of shuffle like oh, I'm like envisioning ruffle people's feathers a little bit. Like, is that part of the healing?
That's a great question. I would say there have been times that issues, I call them issues in the tissues, have come up that are a little bit more present or very present with the person when they leave. And the majority of the time in my healing sessions, not all the time, but if spirit's leading me to kind of jot down some journaling prompts or just being able to get out in nature, just to be able to kind of tools to be able to help them when they do leave, and just also letting them know I'm here. They're not alone, and to be able to also reach out to their safe spaces, safe sources as well. But sometimes a healing crisis can come up, and it's just honoring that piece, that part for them, and holding space for them even after they leave. So I have like a healing mesa in my office that has different healing crystals and stones, and I'll write the client's name down, and I'll add it to my healing mesa so that continues to be with them even after they leave if something significant comes up, or even if it doesn't. To me, it's just that continuation of healing
Hmm.
outside the session.
So you'd be able to prepare somebody if you felt like that might kind of unfold in that way for them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I tell people my sessions, offer 60 and 90-minute sessions, and my sessions aren't just necessarily a lot of times 60 or 90 minutes, because I listen. So like before the session, we'll do an intake, and after the healing session, I'll do another intake, just to tap in. Where are you? How was the experience for you? What have you been noticing? What questions do you have? And a lot of times they'll want me to share as well. And so that's where we got to get into spirit time. And that's just really holding that therapeutic space for their body, mind, and spirit to be, rather than at the end of 60 minutes, I don't go chop, chop, you're done, you're out, I got to get on to the next person. I really hold that sacred space and that therapeutic presence, and making sure that they're they're in a good space, no matter what has kind of popped up for them, and leave them better than I found them a lot of
Hmm.
times.
Since you've been doing this for so long, do you offer any mentorship trainings or?
I do. I can do one-on-one mentoring, and so we do like an initial um, session to where I kind of find out where you are and kind of what your goals and aspirations are and wanting to do mentoring. And then I shape shift it around your needs. And we can kind of create a guideline to be able to go by and give you homework and practice and play work, because I want it to be fun as well. And so then I also teach several different types of workshops and classes to be able to, like, I'll teach chakra balancing, so that if you're wanting to learn more rather than like a one-on-one, I'll teach a day long workshop so that you can learn about each chakra, how to know if they're open or closed. And so there's many different ways I can offer the mentoring, whether that's one-on-one or in a classroom setting.
Hopefully. So
Yeah.
where would people find you? What's
I
the
have a
best?
website. It's illuminatingthesoul.com. They can also email me at tammy@illuminatingthesoul.com, and just various ways. And I'm also on social media. So I have an Illuminating the Soul Facebook page and also Instagram. And so you can find me there. And I do have my events posted on my website as well, where you can register and kind of be a part of my Illuminating the Soul family.
I love that,
Hmm.
that community that you build. And you have a storefront and you do sell some like kind of spiritual supports to help people's facilitation of groundedness and all the things. Is that
I
something
do.
people can buy online as well?
I'm in the process right now creating a brand new website that offers an online store. So yes, I'm in the process of doing that. A lot of people have been wanting to know how, they can purchase jewelry and different artwork and different things that I do offer in the storefront. And so I'm like this close to going live with that. So we're hoping to get it launched right before Thanksgiving. So this year. So keep your fingers crossed.
Well, I want to open it up to questions since we have all these lovely people in this group. Darcy, do you want to get us started? Do you have any? I know you had some lingering questions.
I did. I started the first, I mean, before even getting on with you and reading your bio and feeling you. Like I can really feel your heart and your openness. And then I took a peek at your website, and I'm glad I'm getting to see the previous version of your website,
Mm,
because I have a feeling it's going to keep evolving. It was so colorful and inviting, and I felt really grounded. And that's how I feel when you're talking about all of these different ways of connecting really with the self. And just want to thank you so much for inviting this in a one-on-one basis, but also in this conversation, because I found in my own experience, and certainly with a lot of clients, that being embodied can feel really overwhelming
yeah,
and mm, intimidating.
yeah.
And so I'm wondering if you have maybe a story or any tips or tools for how to enter into the embodiment process for
Mhm.
someone who might be feeling that, I'm not sure where to start or has hesitation about really getting present.
Yeah. Yeah. What I usually will do, thank you, Darcy. And what a great question, and especially where we all are today, with different challenges and just feeling that personal empowerment. And you're right, sometimes it can be very overwhelming. And so I usually will start with just really deep breaths. And you can just kind of close your eyes and go ahead and use your imagination and just going to a favorite place in nature. Because a lot of times that can bring just that full sensory awareness of knowing that you're safe and feeling that, especially in nature. It's a great way to kind of allow your full senses to kind of be engaged in your vagus nerve, everything to kind of come into this very safe place. And so by using your breath, it allows your vagus nerve and your parasympathetic, sympathetic, right and left hand sides of the brain to kind of calm down and allow yourself to come back home to yourself. And allowing your full body, so your muscles, your bones, your fingertips and toe tips, to be able to feel that as well. So breathe as deeply as you possibly can. And many times I'll use the analogy of like the tree of life, because we are also representations of that, and allowing the energy just to kind of flow in and through us. And with the breath being able, like with a deep breath in, it's like you're calling in the energy from above and your spiritual helpers and team, almost like the upper branches of the tree, and being able to kind of bring that calmness and sense of serene all the way down through the spinal column, your shoulders, your abdomen, and all the way down to your toes. And then on the exhale out, being able to draw in from the earth's energy. And so that you have that beautiful balance of the upper and the lower, and being able to embody it fully, with all your organs, your heart, your lungs, your belly, to be able to just be surrounded by that peaceful and safe space. And keep like visualizing your favorite place in nature. Yeah. Hopefully that's helpful.
Very helpful. The
Yeah.
the simpler, the more accessible
Hmm.
when I let my brain calm down. And that's when the
Yeah.
breath comes in. So I so appreciate you bringing that in immediately, because that's what we travel with.
Hmm.
So the more reminders of like the more reminders of the simple, the
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
And some of what you shared, it's the one phrase that came to mind is back to basics.
Yeah.
They're
Hmm.
reliable, and calling on the spirit team. That was
Yeah.
a reminder I needed today. So thank you for bringing that in also. Brings in a playfulness for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. The other thing that's coming forward that my spirit team, so I do reflexology. Okay. So your fingertips are representations of the brain. So the right hand side is a representation of the right hand side of the brain. The left is a representation of the left. When you bring the fingertips together, it's bringing both sides of the brain together as well. So you can integrate that physicalness, because some people need that physical, especially in trying to ground as well. And this is just a great way you can tap, even if sometimes you need a little bit of stimulation. Okay. If that helps kind of ease some of the anxiety, or you can just gently hold. It's almost like hugging, like giving yourself a hug in a way. Um, and once again, kind of tapping back into that breath. But it helps balance the right and left hand sides of the brain, and the parasympathetic, sympathetic, and the vagus nerve kind of all coming together. Yeah.
You spoke about the vagus nerve a few times, or I heard it because it's been on my radar recently.
Hmm.
Uh, would you mind sharing just a brief about what that is and why it's important to know how to regulate it?
Oh my goodness. Well, so many times we can get into that fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, and the amygdala and hippocampus, that type of thing that's happening in the brain. It's all organically trying to keep us safe no matter what. And so depending on what our surroundings are, the vagus nerve can truly play a very pivotal role of, engaging in the right and left hand sides of the brain, of trying to keep us safe, but then the imagination and creativity and really being able to slow it down when it may be in that fight, flight, freeze, and engage it in a way, especially with breath. There's different techniques that I can integrate also that I've learned along the way um, in my healing sessions where I actually palpate the vagus nerve and aid and assist in kind of helping calm it down as well. Um, but we have that opportunity to be able to kind of bring gently our focus and attention to our own personal vagus nerve. Even if you understand or don't understand all the mechanics of it, we still have that ability and wisdom just to be able to tap in and just have that knowing of how much an impact it can play on your body, mind, and spirit, and being able to keep us safe as well and regulated, self-regulated in a way. And to me, breath is probably one of the most powerful ways. You can also kind of gently have your hands on the side of your neck here, almost like just a gentle hug. And just in being able to sometimes even cross body with your kind of left hand on your right shoulder and right hand on your left shoulder. And that's also kind of creating just that safe space you can rock back and forth. And these are just different ways of being able to engage the vagus nerve on a conscious and subconscious level, of allowing your body to come back to that self regulation and aiding and assisting in so many different ways. But it's a very powerful tool, the vagus nerve is. And I know scientifically and therapeutically, they're continuing to uncover ways that it's so important to be able to find different ways to help self-regulate by using the vagus nerve. Yeah. Is that helpful? You feel like I answered your question?
So helpful. Thank you.
Good, good, good. Yeah.
So I want to, Darcy, well, I'll come back to you, Darcy, because I know you'll probably have other ones. Catherine or Caroline, do you guys have any questions that you'd like to ask? You're both muted, so you'd have to unmute yourself.
I think hearing talking about the retreats that you offer, maybe.
Okay. Anyone in particular, Caroline?
Um, I would think maybe the Mayan, or what's the benefit of attending the retreats?
Okay. And so you mentioned the Mayan, and my guess would be you're probably asking about the spiritual retreat that I lead to Mexico.
Yeah.
Okay. It is one offering that I usually will do once a year, and I'll take a group. Like this past couple of weeks ago, we just got back on November 2nd, and we do a week-long spiritual retreat down to Playa del Carmen. And my goal there is to be able to allow people in a way to get out of their comfort zone and in beauty, especially being surrounded by such beautiful nature down there, but also connecting in with some of the Mayan spirituality as well. And so we get off the beaten path. I've got a gal that I work with down there that kind of sets up um, excursions based on purification ceremonies with the local shaman and ways to be able to purify your body, mind, and spirit with the essence of copal, and being able to swim in a cenote, which are considered sacred waters. And also it's and kind of an opening to the lower world, and getting more in touch with who you are at your core. And so just providing different opportunities like that, but also coming together as a group, and being able to have that like-minded support and comfort. And then also offering what's called a Temescal. And what that is, it's a sweat lodge. And so we connect in with a local shaman there that will go through as far as the purification ceremony and the intentions and purposes before getting into the sweat lodge. And the sweat lodge is all about you going back into the womb. It's your womb, and going through 4 different journeys of connecting in with your ancestors, you as a child, as a teenager, and then as an adult, and being able to shed and release what no longer serves your highest and greatest good. That's part of the purification with the sweat. And a lot of times, the means of the sweating aspect of things allows your body and mind and spirit. So your mind gets like, oh my gosh, it's dark in here. I can't breathe. It gets really busy. And that's when the shaman is able to go in deeper on your subconscious level, your heart and soul level, to be able to do the healing work. And so it's just this beautiful blend of being able to go back into the womb because you truly have a full sensory with the steam and the heat. It's dark. They open up the doors in between each journey so that for you to be able to see the light. Okay. And it's misty, it's foggy. So it's almost like if you would actually be reborn and birthed, where you know how the little baby comes out and it's like trying to get its bearings. It's like that when you come out of the Temescal. And so, and you are truly purified just by the different journeys and working with your spiritual allies. And so that is a very personal experience. But being able to be brought together by other people that's in the group that's going through the same, but also individually, and offering that love and support. And then I also offer like an ancestral despacho ceremony. We were there during the Day of the Dead and honoring our ancestors and being able to keep them alive, but also free them from any traumas or struggles and sending them off with so much love and unconditional love and healing. And so during that week long spiritual retreat, there's a lot that happens on an individual level, but also coming together as a group. And especially with the Temescal, I would say. But many other people that's been a part of the group have also kind of shared the ancestral despacho has been very sacred as well because people bring their pictures of their loved ones that have transitioned on or their pets. And we do the ceremony and then wrap it up like a gift. And then we release it out to sea and let the sacred waters be able to heal them on their journey. So, and then we kind of come back together at the end of the week and just be able to share what transformations or healings or different facets about the week have stood out for them. And so that's one spiritual retreat that I leave on top of many other workshops like shamanic Reiki, uh, the chakra healing and balancing. So, Caroline, did I answer your question?
Yes. Thank
Any
you.
any other questions with that?
Are we going to go to the next one, Caroline?
I hope so.
Oh, yeah.
Sold.
Yeah. Yeah. I do want to go. The other thing that I I would like to hear you talk about or share about is your art.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because I love to watch you talk about your art. I'm so happy.
You're so sweet. Just I'm going to piggyback on the spiritual retreat. Anyone is welcome. I've had people come from Oregon and Florida, and so anyone is welcome to be able to come. So if your soul, heart and soul are led to come on the trip, you are more than welcome. You can reach out to me anytime. All right, Caroline, as far as my artwork, you're right. I light up. And so I have an art degree on top of doing the healing modalities that I do. And that's always been present in my life. And I would say it's been over the last 2 or 3 years that, it's been pressing on me to want to, in it, like, bring that more into the healing work that I do and ways of being able to put my artwork out there into the world that's on a very spiritual and meaningful way. And so I work with watercolor and acrylic, and I've created some spiritual pieces, some abstract, and I've had different shows over the last few years that it makes my soul come alive, and that's kind of my meditation time. So I know there's different ways to meditate, but my creative meditation is probably one of the biggest ones that allows me to kind of retreat back in and create this beautiful piece and share it with the rest of the world and hoping that it's um, meaningful and healing all in the same. So there's more to come with that for sure. So
I love that. Catherine, did you have something you wanted to say?
Yeah, I've come at this presence of like the healing and the the massage and all this stuff from a presence of kind of healing over the loss of my parents a few years ago. And it's led me to a place of wanting to potentially learn. And I do have a mentorship set up with you, but that's one of the things I'm trying to struggle with is how to blend or transition from the healing to the learning as with the end goal of being able to help others with the things that I've learned.
Oh, beautiful. Well, one, I'm sorry for the loss of your parents because I can know how difficult that can be on so many different levels. And so,
Thank you.
yeah, really sorry about that. And so, and I love that you're wanting to take the healing into a learning and being able to help other people. That is beautiful. And so, any ways that I can help in that way, in that regard, and we can talk more when you come in with your mentoring and kind of find ways that kind of areas that you're wanting to focus and kind of create. But it's, I would say it's one of the biggest self healings that you can do is really tap in deeply with all the different feelings and emotions that you may be going through and experiencing, and knowing that there's really no timeline to grief, and ways of being able to, one, show up for yourself in that healing. Um, but then also recognizing that we all go through grief in many different ways, and then being able to once again take that into helping other people and just be a presence in their life and showing up in ways that's the most beneficial for them. And so there's many different techniques and ways to be able to do that, whether that be through listening, Reiki, um, and just offering your therapeutic presence for sure. We can talk more about that as well.
I love that question, Catherine. It's come up a lot also in the work that I've done. I've had interns in my psychotherapy practice, and life happens, and like horrible things will happen while you're in your studies, or you've got, my father just passed, but I have a business. Like my life doesn't stop. Like, how do you simultaneously continue to do your healing work and launch into this beautiful work that that you and Tammy are going to be unfolding? And I'm just here to say you can do both. I think you can.
Be gentle with yourself for sure.
Yes, slow and
Yeah.
steady. There's no rush. I don't feel like anything has to stop. Grief doesn't have to stop you. You can pause when it needs to, when it's all consuming, because it is. And then you're going to keep trudging. But I love that you want to enter the healing profession in some kind of way, or find your way. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. That helps a lot. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I want to talk to you all day long, Tammy. The energy that is in this room. I guess I'll have like Darcy, do you have one more question, or is there anything that's calling upon you or anybody else?
Hey, Tammy, do you have any invitation for all of us tuning in live, and also whenever people are tuning in for the day or the week ahead, for maybe invite us into a practice that you like to walk in the world with right now?
Oh, sure.
Magic.
Yeah. And one of the things that I do, especially like on a Sunday evening or early Monday morning, is to just really reflect on the intentions that I want to, one, have for myself, and preparing for my week ahead. I'll usually look at the various clients that I have, or workload that I have. And especially in looking at the clients, I begin working on them, and knowing that that energy is going to continue to flow until they come in. But I also like to just have that self-reflective time, whether it's journaling or I'll do note taking on my phone, but also find some guided meditations also to be able to do, just to kind of aid and assist. Sometimes they're guided, sometimes it's just putting on some really relaxing music and just to be able to be in that moment, that pause, and nothing else exists outside of just that self-care practice for yourself. And that's a lot of times what I'll begin my day, sometimes between clients. I'll practice the pause, and that can come in many different forms. Like I said, whether putting on music, doing a quick journal or a quick doodle, art doodle, and it's any way of finding your balance. Sometimes when life can get hectic, and it's allowing yourself to come back home to you. Yeah. Carry that throughout the week. Sometimes you have to hit the reset button because, like Michelle said, life happens. But it's in practicing working with different tools that you can kind of create with what works in that moment and play with it. Be playful with it. Yeah.
I like playful. That's what I'm working on is playfulness.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Tammy. See, Tammy.
All good. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Tammy, for joining us. This was so lovely.
Thank you so much, Michelle. And thank you, Darcy and Catherine and Caroline and Bettina. She was here a little bit earlier for joining, and anyone else that's will be listening. I greatly appreciate it.
I
Yeah,
appreciate your time. During the talk, I had a lot of aha moments. So this is a very, very informative talk. I really appreciate your time.
Excellent. Thank you. Yeah, you're very welcome. Very welcome.
Yeah, I'm excited because this will be hubbed on our website hopefully this week. Right, Darcy? Like maybe by the end of today or tomorrow. So and this video, along with a bunch, we've been interviewing holistic healers of all modalities for a couple months now. So if
Love
you
it.
want their interviews with lovely people like Tammy, it'll be finally on the website so you can see it during times that work for everybody.
Yeah.
So
Thank you, Michelle.
thank
And
you.
Darcy. Greatly appreciate what you're doing and putting out in the world.
Lovely.
Yeah.